life at the Voice closeout event. Closeout event, right? So it means that the program in Nigeria for Voice is actually coming to an end. But even if it's coming to an end, they've actually supported a lot of organizations, local organizations, to actually make meaningful change with their work. And it's amazing today because we'll have a guest who have actually worked together with Voice in supporting these local organizations to implement their local initiatives. And he will tell us more about his experience with the project and also with the beneficiaries of the grant. So let's allow my guest to introduce himself. So let's meet my guest.
My name is Tijani Ahmed Hamza. I'm the country director of Oxfam in Nigeria, a position I've held for the last couple of years. As country director of Nigeria, I do have overall responsibility of programming within the country program. And the voice program is one of the programs that I'll find to be quite exemplary. Exemplary in the fact that, as you know, organizations like Oxfam try to see how we can work on issues around inequality, social justice. And the voice program provides that opportunity because we work with a lot of grantees that are trying to deal with issues around exclusion, issues around the need to integrate a lot, issues around how to bring the marginalized into the society to be able to assert their social, economic, political, and cultural rights in Nigeria.
Wow, thank you so much for coming today. Okay, so sir, based on your experience working together with the Voice Project and then also managing grantees, can you tell us a little bit more about the impacts of some of the projects that individual organizations are actually doing?
Yes, actually, the voice program has made a lot of impact. So, for example, we have programs that are supporting the aged in society. We have programs that are supporting people who are physically challenged. We have programs that are supporting people who are marginalized in the society, especially because of their sexuality or the fact that somebody is an albino. So let me give you some concrete examples. So through a partnership with an organization, CARE, who are into trying to support those who are physically challenged to be able to physically access, public places through our partnership, they have been able to influence the Federal Ministry of Aviation that has now made some airports, including the Abuja International Airport, physically accessible. You may not know it because you don't feel it, but to be able to access public infrastructure without being aided by being inconvenienced is a great achievement. Second, I heard stories actually about survivors of gender-based violence who were left to more or less suffer in a society, who have been empowered with livelihood skills, they have been supported with equipment, and they are now having businesses and forgetting about the inadequacies of the challenges that they face. I met an interesting group of elderly people, some of them over 70, 76 years old, who are working very much within the public space, the influencing spaces to see how Nigeria can look at the whole issue around the old aged policy. And I always tell my colleagues in Oxfam that when you see these old men who are working to have an old age or elder policy, they are doing it not for themselves, they are doing it for you, the young ones. So as much as possible, let us support them. I've seen instances where people have told me because of the patriarchal society that we live in, women are not included into decision making that affects them. We heard the story from the Igbo land where some women are now. So a lot of impactful projects. And for me, one of the interesting statements I heard from people that were there was that even though the voice program is closing, people's voice still exists. And they should use the exposure, the experiences to still continue. You will still have challenges with the police trying to extort money from the drivers.
Definitely.
Because voice has ended doesn't mean that you should not assert your right. I'm sure there are a lot of airports in this country that also needs physically accessible routes. Can the care organization, for example, work in that direction?
Wow. Well, thank you so much for that. I think you've already said it all with so many impacts that Voice has done in their support to local organizations. So can you tell us a little bit more about Oxfam? So
Yes.
Oxfam, their work itself and
Okay.
how they've impacted people.
Okay. Yes. So generally, Oxfam was in Nigeria 20, 30 years ago. We did a lot of work around the humanitarian. So people will tell you that in Northeast around Adamawa, Oxfam was one of the first organizations to move there to work to support in the livelihood of people following the insurgency. But over the years, we have changed our programming to what we call influencing. And what does that mean? The idea is that, yes, people still have basic needs that has to be dealt with. But we just feel it is the government's responsibility to provide for the basic needs of the people. So we are shifting our focus to issues around rights, where we try to see how we can empower people to have their rights. So broadly, our country program work in areas around accountable governance, by which we want to work with partners to secure that the sort of governance mechanisms we have in the country, governance in terms of electoral governance, political governance, economic governance issues, are responding to the needs of the society. We also work in broadly areas around gender justice. We have a patriarchal society, and the world is not fair, I will say, to women. So as much as possible, we try to do work to see how we can secure gender justice. And gender justice, you can look at it between different lenses. The right of the girl child to education, maternal and child health, the right of the woman at the workplace. Then we also have an economic justice portfolio that looks at issues around livelihood, food security, employability. Concretely, through partnership with, for example, the European Union, we just finished a project in Taraba State, where we have worked in close to 10 local government areas to support farmers to be able to produce food all year round. We have supported the community members to access microfinance to be able to use for their trading. We have worked with the ministries of food and agriculture in the state to see how they can improve training program for the farmers. In Adamawa State, for example, actually, we are supporting through funding from the German government in partnership with the GIZ to support some local government areas to have what you call community development plans. So that based on the design of the community development plans, the state or the local government area has what are called felt needs, which are through bottom-up planning approaches. So that once the money from the central government comes, they invest it into that direction. We also work in some parts of Nigeria where, Nigeria, we have oil. But most people tell that the oil is seen as a curse. It's a curse because people feel that the oil is not benefiting the people. How can you work so that we, one, reduce the adverse socioeconomic impact of oil exploration on the people, but then two, the community is supposed to derive benefit
from the oil.
And often we do this in different parts of the country, and we will continue to do so.
Wow, wow, and that is amazing. Thank you for sharing all the great work that Oxfam has done. Thank you for sharing your experience working with Voice Program and the impact that it has contributed. It was great having you here, and thank you so much for coming.